So are we going?
I don't know. Are we? We're rolling.
Rolling.
Rawhide. So, in April 1985, you record "Life Is Hard" and then you die. Do you know roughly when you recorded? Because when I'm doing this timeline, you play pretty much every week in April, and I'm thinking, when the hell did they have time to record this?
We played a lot.
The recording,
don't remember.
the recording process of this one was just done in our basement studio where we practiced.
That's Hedgehog Sounds.
Yes.
So
that was our
All
basement.
Saints.
We rented the recording equipment for 2 weeks
No,
$1,500.
and
It was
figured
1
out.
week.
Was it 1 week?
Yeah, and
Oh.
we figured out how to work it
On the
in
last day,
The last day.
and then
And
we
so
recorded.
we just it's a live recording. It's all live.
it's almost live to floor,
Yeah.
live to the
Yeah,
floor
yeah,
from your
the-
basement.
The only difference is Brian was in the other part of the basement in the workshop
Was in
while
the
you were
workshop.
singing, which is why the drill sound came in.
Yeah,
There's a drill sound in there.
Yes,
That was a
the
drill
one
sound.
in the Wannabe Neil.
I want to be Neil.
Oh,
We weren't expecting that, so we had to control our laughter while we were recording that.
Yeah, we had a hard time recording.
Yeah.
But the last day,
who did the? So what I think is actually something unique about this is, a lot of the early recordings from the Toronto hardcore scene come out of Acusonic, and this doesn't. And as a result, it sounds unique to the other hardcore bands, right?
Yeah.
So you're shaking your head, unique, but I mean that as a compliment because it stands out. It stands out from a lot of the other recordings in Toronto, and in a good way.
I
So
was pissed off. I thought it sounded
You didn't-
like shit.
you-
For
you
the
didn't
same
like
money,
it.
we could have gone into the studio and done it really well.
We were all disappointed with the sound quality on this one.
yeah.
but
it's kind of dry.
But then everyone liked it. So
Yeah.
what do I know?
But in some ways, hardcore is sort of the energy, right? And it does capture, you can hear all kinds of different things in the recording, which make it
being-
an honest reflection of the
and
sound.
being a
in some
clean
ways.
four-piece.
No, you're shaking your head.
I never
You didn't
listened
think
to
so?
it. I played it every day. I didn't need to listen to it,
Uh, Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
And when I did, I'd get pissed off because it sounded like shit.
you felt that you could do better.
Yeah, we could have. I thought, anyway.
Did you get anything from the experience though? Because the whole let me ask you about the DIY spirit of that time, because that was a real ethos and
Oh, yeah.
and it was a modus operandi really for a lot of bands, right? But I'm thinking even the exercise of going to rent the equipment and then figuring out how to use it you must have gained something out of that.
Well, going back to the beginning with Neil, our first drummer who couldn't drum,
Did he do the production on this?
I taught him how to do sound because I knew basics of
Oh.
sound and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I got him to. Everyone had to have a role, and because he couldn't drum, I had to find another role for him. So we geared him into covering off the sound, and he had a role, and he just flourished with that. He became,
Don said he went on to become like a sound
He
man.
did,
for-
yeah.
for-
But the best part was in every show that we went to, we always had the same sound man who knew how to get our sound. So we were always able to get our sound.
So did he always do sound for you guys?
Yes.
He always did sound for us. And
So he's like a fifth or sixth member.
Yes.
yeah, and so every time we would
He's even
jam,
named
we
on
would
it.
actually he would record it on a cassette, but the sound is just like
Just like
it's
that.
just like this.
So,
on a
but
cassette.
that must have made you guys unique because I don't know any of the other hardcore bands in Toronto that had a sound man.
That's true.
And
We're lucky. And
Well, how many had a place to have a studio in the first place?
Yeah, or a manager for that.
Or a
manager,
for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
you guys
But
had sort of two things.
having the sound
talk
man
about
too,
that.
Neil, when he got good, he started to do sound for all other bands as well in the gigs, and he would start recording the shows without bands knowing. I've got this incredible recording of
October.
You must have
October
a,
Crisis
Yeah.
Oh, really?
from London.
From London, yeah.
yeah.
It's the first couple of songs are rough because the recording, he hadn't tweaked it yet, but about 3 songs in, he's got the sound just right.
But lots of
was the
bands,
Stretch Mark
lots of
show.
bands
That was
who
the
went on
Stretch
to record things, and I'm thinking October Crisis in particular.
But then
Now that we're talking about them, they didn't sound as good as they did live.
Did they ever record something?
I don't think they did.
They were on a compilation. They never did a whole
Yeah,
album.
they were
so
on a-
we've got their whole set recorded. I
Yeah.
don't think they know that.
and
I
I'm
know
thinking,
they don't know that.
I'm thinking he must have like an amazing document of like some of the best sounding stuff that in Ontario, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there any hope that he'll do something with that?
Who, Neil?
Especially, yeah.
Nobody's heard from him.
Yeah, we don't. We've totally lost contact with him.
Does he live in Toronto, in Canada?
No,
still,
he's
or-
He's in Hollywood.
last known places in California.
in
somewhere.
California. He's never
North
coming back.
Hollywood, yeah.
Well,
You go to California, you
You
never
saw
come back.
him about 10 years ago?
10, 15 years ago, yeah.
He was in Toronto.
At
for
the Diamond Club. At a Led Zeppelin cover night.
No way.
Yeah.
There's a
And that was
the
the
Diamond
last.
Club. That's a
Yeah.
blast from the past.
It sure was. I hadn't been there since GBH, I don't think,
Wow.
in 84.
And then you were seeing a Zeppelin tribute.
Yeah.
It's almost like going to the gasworks.
It was.
Right.
Okay, let me ask you more about this record because do you think it? Okay, let me ask you. This. Were you aware that this is the first full length album that comes out of like the Toronto hardcore scene?
What?
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
No.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
It's the first full length.
No, because Direct Actions came out the same year, as
No.
did Sudden Impact.
Came out like a month later. I
Oh,
think.
well, yeah.
Yeah, but
I
you-
remember it was all that
Technically,
summer.
someone's
And
gotta be
S.N.F.U. too.
Technically, someone's got to be first. So,
Oh, all right.
and so the direct action one came out shortly after.
Shortly after, all right.
And
We
Sudden
never,
Impact after that. And so the only thing before that was Sin, YYY, Sin.
Yeah,
but it's an
that's
EP.
right.
So
Oh.
technically, first album.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a silly bunt.
So, were you conscious of that at the time?
No.
No.
Was there like a sort of almost like an arms race to get there first?
No.
None.
This was directed by Stretch Marks. Stretch Marks said, "Do it."
Well, again, from Don's point of view, there was a bit of an arms race. And,
Really?
he felt that he had a competitive nature about it. He wanted the album to come out before other people, and he knew that there was other things in the works. So
Did
he-
not know
That brings us back to how we disassociated ourselves from
Those
any of that
goings
kind
on.
of stuff. Yeah, we left.
This almost sounds like a sibling rivalry
No,
playing itself out through the band.
It's quite the opposite. It's because we had him, we could completely entrust him
on-
in that and let go of all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
We were free to not have to think about
To focus on the band,
business.
really.
That
sense.
nasty
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So 1985 seems like a late period for a first, and especially in the hardcore scene because like lots of hardcore scenes had already sort of defined sounds. Like I'm thinking like in 80, like you've got
Yeah.
the DC sound, you've got like California, you got these sounds. Toronto has an amazing hardcore scene, but it's more tape centric. And for an LP to come out as a first in 1985, seems like we're coming at this late to the game. Why do you think that was? Do you think it was because Toronto was so tape centric, and
Never
like with the
thought of it.
recordings?
I think it was just because the amount of money you had to get ahead of you to press an album at that time, most bands couldn't quite get there. And again, because we had Don managing us and managing our money.
Well, this wasn't our. This is my dad's money.
That's true.
Yeah, and then we had to pay him back. Don't you remember?
But it still
No.
came out of
Your dad,
our machine.
No,
your dad seems to like he helps you with the jam space and he helps you fund this.
didn't know
Your dad seems like he seems like a righteous dude in some
Yeah.
ways, right?
and he bought us the equipment, and we also had to pay him back. Don't you remember showing up,
Oh, yeah,
Jared?
yeah.
You got your $50 to give to the old guy. But yeah, we paid it all back. With
Yeah,
the
yeah,
interest,
sure.
and
But
I
that
guess
I mean,
it's trying to teach me something.
no, but my parents were pretty supportive too in different ways like that, and we sort of underwrite how much of a role some of these parents were in
Yeah.
terms of helping us with
Yeah.
finding ourselves in some ways through the scene, right? So let me, but
I guess it was just because of
regards to-
things like the parents that we were enabled to
perhaps.
take that big step.
But I'm trying to look at Toronto a little bit and think, like Toronto has a great hardcore scene. It's mostly on cassette. Cassettes aren't necessarily like almost they're sort of an illegitimate format. They're not
Yeah.
considered like
It's
a
like a
vinyl.
it's like a
maybe
temporary source.
like I'm wondering that lesson that you talk about with the stretch mark saying put out an album.
Yeah,
In some ways, that there's something more to this, right? And you guys follow that advice and put out an album, and you do it right away. And so, and most bands at that time in Toronto put out a cassette tape, and then if they were lucky, they put out a 7-inch.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you guys kind of skipped both those steps, maybe because of the stretch marks. Why didn't you go the tape route or the 7-inch route? was it because of the stretch marks? Because like that advice, or like did you have enough? Like you must have had enough
I don't
stuff,
think, I don't
right?
think
Because
we ever considered doing
because there's like almost
tape.
20 songs on this record, right? Like it's not.
I could see
It's not hurting
Don. I
for
could
it.
see Don saying, "Fuck the cassette
Yeah.
route."
Go all the way.
Yeah.
And we were all like that. Is if you're going to do it, do it. Go all the way. And,
Yeah.
and we had the ability to borrow
it-
all the money that we needed.
It feels
so-
like you leapfrog all the steps that sort of are become the natural progression for a band, right?
I didn't know we did
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No, but
especially,
it- but it-
especially by taking it upon ourselves to do the entire recording process, just bypassing as many middlemen as we possibly could, and
Yeah.
doing it ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, because most people were just going through Acusonic, and then Acusonic could do the tapes, right? And
Right,
It
yeah.
sort of seemed like there was something else going on there, and then you guys were like, fuck it, we'll just record it ourselves, and then we'll put it out ourselves, right?
We must have had the conversation, but I don't
And-
remember it.
And how did you know, like, how did you find out about a pressing plant? Because, like, that information was really,
I think
Limited too.
Neil and Don did all that stuff. Found
Yeah,
out
they
about
found
them
one not too long before it disappeared.
Arc Sound?
in Hark Sound.
where, do you know where that is?
No.
Because I remember there being a place in Bowmanville, but World Records, but I don't remember other places except for in the States.
No, again, that was all Don's thing, and we let
Yeah.
him do it.
Okay.
And we
And I-
were each issued a box of 50 to give away as promotional,
Oh, yeah, we had to
Remember?
go and put them into the record stores ourselves.
or give them away to friends.
No.
I remember we were
I did.
putting them into Records on Wheels on consignment.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to go in there every week and check how this
Yeah,
they
but
were
not
doing.
give them away to friends.
I did.
Frig, we had to pay for this stuff. You did? Yeah.
And then I
I'm
left.
still-
that's
I'm
where all
still
the money
paying,
went, yeah.
That's right. I'm still paying. My
And then I
dad
left a
back.
box in the back of my car one hot summer day, and they melted. About 45 of the
Are you
box of
kidding?
50. No.
We had to make note of that on Discogs, because 50 were destroyed.
You should, yeah. Out of what, 1,000?
1,000.
1,000. So,
So we,
so there should only be 960 out there. Ish.
So I made a post on, as I said, on Facebook when we started this, just so that we could get people chiming in along, as it goes. And Don just chimed in and he said, they better not trash me, and I'll never book them on another show again. So, to play nice.
Did you only press this once, this record?
No, wasn't it reissued in Germany?
Yeah,
Yes.
Germany picked it up and they
Relicensed it or whatever, reissued it.
they did I think 500 in clear vinyl,
Clear, yeah.
Really?
and then I think like 3,000 or so.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
500.
But just a 1,000 press initially here in
Yeah,
Toronto,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. The name "Life Is Hard" and then you die. Where does that come from?
It came from a button I used to wear on. I got it in New Orleans with work. I was sent down to New Orleans for a week, and I just found it in a shop, and I thought that sounds punk rock, and it was black, and it said "Life is hard," and then you die.
So I took
It came off of a badge pin.
I took a philosophy course on the human condition, and so it's a Hobbesian view, right?
Is
so
it?
Thomas Hobbes, he wrote
Yeah.
about life as short, brutish, and hard,
Yeah.
and specifically life being hard, brutish, and short, right? So life is hard and then you die is a Hobbesian view. It's
Yeah.
a polemic for the human condition. It's a polemic that I happen to believe in because it's the one I live closest to. The other side is the Rousseau version, which is like everyone's great and whatever.
Yeah. Proto hippie.
So, but like I was curious if this was because the Hobbesian view is closer to a punk view, and I'm thinking
exactly.
and I'm thinking it actually lines up in terms of a philosophical viewpoint on the human condition, and I thought it was a brilliant name. I always thought it was a brilliant name. And while this is around the same time I was going to university and taking that course. So, but I often wondered where the name came from because I felt it was very so smart, actually, such a smart name. So, but it comes from a button.
It came from that pin. I've still
That's
got
okay.
it.
But it still captures sort of to me some of the, because philosophy asks the big questions in terms of whys, right?
Mm.
And to me, it captures that. So anyway, I just feel like it's brilliant. I just wanted to say that,
Sorry. It was
but it's okay.
We're
But I
still fine
did.
now.
But it's okay. It's fine because
Dinosaur butt.
regardless, it's a great name. So I wanted to ask you about who took the photo for this cover.
Joe
So
Sari,
can you describe the photo for us?
describe
Because
it.
it,
Salvation
because it
Army.
works well with the name.
Do you remember the day?
I wasn't.
Was
there.
that the Salvation Army in Toronto?
on Jarvis, wasn't it?
On
I don't know
Jarvis?
if it's. I think it's gone now.
Okay.
Jarvis and Richmond-ish.
Yeah, it would be sort of Queen, like it's in Skid Row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bunch of you guys went out with him one day, and
Just taking pictures?
Just
put
Put up a couple of our posters. And,
Yeah. So what were the? So that was the next question.
Yeah, I
Like
think
that looks a bit staged because like what's
It
the
was
likelihood that there would be two hype photos above
I
this?
hope you gave him some money.
So it looks like this guy's a homeless guy and he's like basically collapsed on the street.
He never woke up.
And there's two hype posters above him, and you know the hype posters are just sort of incidental. It's just sort of to brand it as you guys, right? But like, it wasn't something that was photoshopped,
No.
He's a real guy.
right? Because Photoshop wasn't around at the time, and it's not a cut and paste thing. But it was Joe Sari who took the photo.
Yep, Joe Sari,
So-
yep.
Took all the photos.
So Joe Sari comes
Except
up.
that one.
His name comes up because he was one of the photographers at the time, right?
Oh yeah.
Can you tell me about Joe Sari?
I don't know where he came from.
Short guy.
He came on the first leg of our tour, remember? Because he was on his way to.
Oh, I remember,
was it
yeah.
Winnipeg?
Regina?
Yeah, it was
Got
Regina.
off in Regina?
He was from
Yeah.
Toronto, though.
I think so.
Yeah, he was from Toronto, or maybe it was Montreal because he came with us to Montreal
Did he?
one time as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're saying he took almost all these photos on the back as
Except
well,
that one.
except for
Except Brian's.
Brian's
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, my girlfriend had to have.
Right.
But so that's pretty amazing that he was taking all these photos. But I think I remember him doing a photo zine. I remember buying a
You
zine off
ugly
him.
parasite.
Was that what it was?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And he must have taken other photos with him.
Oh,
actually.
shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
the-
Yeah.
that was
It was-
his zine, I think. So they were all his
He
photographs.
was at every show snapping
Yep.
pictures.
Yep.
Was he from Toronto, from Oakville, from
Waterloo.
Waterloo?
Okay. That's all I remember of him.
I don't know how we got connected with him.
No.
It's probably through Don,
Yeah, again.
you know.
It's Don's fault.
Well,
Don's fault.
he's doing some of the heavy lifting for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into the next thing. You guys talked about AOD.
Got that one.
So Adrenalin Overdose from New Jersey, one of the funniest, most full of humor kind of bands that from that hardcore era. This seems to me like a huge thing to happen to Toronto. How does it come about? Do you know anything about it? No.
Sorry, no.
Yeah.
Do you remember AOD? Do you have any stories
Yeah,
of them?
yeah.
Because they kind of got lambasted by MRR for just sitting around the house watching TV all the time, and they often did do like covers of TV shows and things like that.
Yeah.
They certainly had a wicked sense of humor.
Mm.
I'm wondering how you got on with them, like what they were like. This
Those
seems like a
aren't
big
are
deal.
Those
to
the
me.
guys that we
Those are
showed
the
how to
guys.
do drugs.
Yes. We showed them how to do hot knives.
Hot knives is what
specifically.
I heard,
Hot knives.
We spent an entire night just
because
around the
they
stove.
didn't know what hot knives were.
Yeah.
I thought it was the face
The
mask.
gas mask?
Yeah.
We may have done that too the second time.
They
They-
thought we were brilliant. They're like, fuck.
I think we were always drawn to their sense of humor in their music, and we tend to delve into that with our music sometimes with tongue in cheek. But we like the lighthearted, goofy nature that they have.
You tell a lot of bands hot knives because the Rhythm Pigs at Ivy said.
Yes.
Okay, we may have liked hot.
So hot,
Biggest exports.
Yeah.
Who loved Oakville, by the way. Because they stayed with us for a while, and he said, "This place is great." And he was a big golfer. He wanted to go golfing. Remember?
oh, there's a golf course out there. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah.
A famous
the,
one, right? Glen Abbey.
Glen Abbey.
Abbey, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it that won the golf?
Ed Ivy.
Oh, okay.
This is great.
So, Sons of Ishmael are on this bill, and it says formerly ATV.
TV, yeah.
So, how are they different? Were they a different band, really?
I didn't see any
Continuation of this
difference.
thing? No?
No.
I don't recall any difference.
There was an explanation for the name change. I don't remember
I
what it
thought they
was.
maybe they got some grief.
Yeah, from one of their sisters, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was the story. One of their sisters thought it was disgusting. So they went with something that sounded.
Well, it is
a little-
disgusting.
They went with something that sounded a little bit more religious.
Sheen,
that-
Sheen wanted to call our band or Hype. He wanted to call it Terry Fox and the Missing Limbs.
Remember
Yeah,
that?
I thought, fuck, that's
It kind of backfired on Sons of Ishmael, though, because Don sent a letter to Tim, and instead of Sons of Ishmael, he said Sons of Islam. And and his mother freaked out on him. What the fuck are you doing? So, yeah, it kind of backfired.
The drummer from Sons of Ishmael was also a preacher's son, which is
yeah,
how we knew about the story with Ishmael, which is how that
rings a
story became.
bell, yeah.
But moving on.
That's
No, well, we're all sort of chiming in here, but the DMZ. So this is the first show that you play at the DMZ. Can you tell me about the DMZ?
Is it?
It is. I think it is.
the first shows at the DMZ.
It's one of the
Yeah, one of the
I always
first.
thought the DMZ was shit.
I hated that place.
Yeah.
It was horrible. The
What was-
sound,
what
the
was shit
sound
about
was
it?
terrible.
The sound?
The acoustics were terrible because it was just a big empty cavern, and just sound bounced
With
everywhere.
that big fence at the front of it.
Oh, it was brutal.
That was like a cattle ranching.
There was
fence.
nothing.
yeah.
There was absolutely nothing good about it.
And that funky 1970s painting on the backdrop, of all these funky black folks doing jiving, and it was hysterical.
Do you know anything about the place that used to be? It was formerly the Paramount.
It was it?
Yeah. I don't know what it was, so I'm just
Register it?
I'm asking if you know about
no.
it. Okay. Can you tell me about who ran the place?
No,
No.
I thought it
nothing.
was.
Nothing.
I thought it was. A BFG had
It
something
was.
to do.
It was.
But you mean the owner, the actual owner?
No, it was BFG who ran the place, right?
Yeah,
who-
yeah.
No, I don't care
Yeah,
about
I
the
remember
owner.
that.
I don't care about the owners. But to me, it's like a significant thing because it's like one of the. So there were other punk run clubs, but this becomes like a punk run hardcore club, right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first, if I'm not mistaken.
Must be.
So, was there some significance with that? Because I remember there being some pretty innovative door policy things, like
what?
come down with a graffiti tool and you get in for $1 off.
Are you kidding? No, I don't
You,
remember.
you don't remember any of this stuff?
No.
Okay. So, what do I ask
I
you
remember
next?
Don having some draws there.
Draws.
Yeah.
Is that where
What
we
were those?
had the Easter?
Bring your skateboard and.
Yeah, that's I think this
Oh,
one.
is that a different one?
This is so yeah, but same year. It's if you read down here
Yeah.
Bring a skateboard.
Yeah.
and win a draw for a free. What does it say?
For all future RKP shows. I remember some guy won it, and it was like I've
never
seen
used
this
it. He
guy
never used it.
before. Never. He walked into the wrong place.
I don't remember any of this.
Okay, I'm going to steal this back because I'm going to
Yeah,
ask you
sure.
more about it later. Let me ask you. Let me go on to the next show. This is Sunday, April 14th, so the
Jesus.
same month that you're recording this album, and I'm still having trouble figuring out which week it was. But you're playing this show. Where is it? It's at
Holy shiz.
That's not a Dawn poster. That's
it's at Larry's, and it's with Negative Gain and State of Mind. So this looks like it's an
they are.
all Oakville
Yeah.
lineup,
Yeah,
right?
it
Yeah.
is.
Like it's almost like an Oakville showcase.
Your money's worth and more. It says
Yeah,
right
yeah, that's all Oakville for sure.
So you do play with them, and you play with them in Toronto, and you play with Negative Gain. Maybe I could ask you about Negative Gain. Can you tell me about who Negative Gain were a bit more? Because we've talked
Grant,
in brief.
Andrew, Peter,
And Steve.
and Steve. Yeah, Steve.
And what like
They
they
were from the White Oaks High School.
right other side of the tracks or whatever you called it, same side of the other side.
They were. It was a little more preppy. Ours was more of a working class school.
Okay,
I think theirs was a working class as well.
I don't remember. They had more
It's just
neuros and
initially
punks.
we didn't
Ours
have-
had none.
Initially, we
They were
didn't
pretty
have any,
liberal.
Initially, we didn't have any common friends until we started to interconnect, and then it just didn't stop from there. Towards the end, there, the
Oh, it
house
was
parties
great.
that we used to have. I remember coming home from work, phone home at 8:00. What's
this is at
happening?
the Hype House.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's-
phone home, nothing's happening. No, just sitting around doing nothing. I get home an hour later. I open the door, and it's like you can't even move. Just shoes. Just all 50 people in the house, just going nuts.
Did
times.
so?
Yeah.
Tell me about the Hype House. When did that start up?
Ah,
The White Apartments.
yeah, that was after we
White
got evicted
elephants.
from the other place.
Yeah.
Is it around? Is
in
it?
Bronte? Yeah.
It would
yeah.
be after '85, right? It would be after this album, maybe. Because you're still
No,
practicing
it.
it.
Was pre this.
It was pre that.
No.
The place in Bronte. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, we recorded this on
At Brian's.
Brian's dad's.
This is in
No,
85?
but you were living in that apartment before we recorded this. No,
No,
that's
we weren't.
right, that's right.
Be careful
just
with that.
a-
I got to play that on the radio.
Oh, sorry. We can give you another one.
I'll happily take another one. I've almost worn the grooves out on that one. But like I'm trying to get I'm trying to get an idea of when the like was there. I get a feeling that there was more than one hype house, but when did the first one start, and then sort of like does it become a meeting spot for punks in Oakville?
It pretty much did, yeah. It
Yeah.
became the Grand Central, the meeting place, which is why all of a sudden,
Did we take
'cause
Adrenalin OD back there?
there was 3 groups
AOD
in
went back
Oakville.
there. AOD went back there,
Yeah.
so it would have been April at least.
There's 3 groups
various.
in Oakville, and when we're all looking for a place to go, all of a sudden they all connect and we all show up at the same place.
Yeah.
We always went to the same parties, whether it was a
Who,
bush
who,
party
lived,
or...
who lived in the house?
It was me and Don
Wally.
and Neil and
Which?
Wally, the white apartment.
Well, that was an apartment building, yeah, not a house.
It's a
No,
condo.
yeah,
It was a condo.
it's a condo.
Oh, okay.
3 floors. I lived in Don's closet when I.
Oh
lived
yeah, the
there.
walk-in closet.
Yeah, it was great. It's great.
We had
You pissed on Don's bed there too, didn't you?
You fucking did.
I did not.
no, that was Bronny.
You put
No, that was
Cornish
Neil's bed.
hens in Neil's bed and pissed in his
I
bed
would never have pissed. I might have put hens in his bed. I would never have.
because they were on drugs. Remember?
No.
Or maybe that was you on drugs.
Maybe.
No, that was me and Chris, Jeff.
You on bad drugs. Remember the cactus? With
Yeah, the cactus, the
stab?
fan pointing at it.
Yeah. But anyways.
Got
So, yeah, that-
kicked out because of the constant removal.
Actually, yeah,
and-
our first apartment created the lyrics for "They Do as They Please."
Yeah,
Right.
second. Yeah.
So what's that song about?
It's actually all the lyrics. Big John wrote that.
Big John
Right.
took the
eviction notice,
yeah.
and took snippets out of it and worded it into a song.
Right.
Yeah. So we had a big fight.
So you got
there.
kicked out of this place.
Yeah.
We had a big
But
fight there.
turning up at 3 a.m, moving heavy amps in through the back door.
You got a big
neighbors
fight.
complaining.
A big fight with the landlord.
Landlord, yeah. Well, we
Or-
lived.
Not with
each
the
other.
landlord. Is
The super.
We were
The
having
super.
a party there, and there was some
A
guys
fight.
that no. Do you know
Oh,
those
yeah, from
guys? Do
Milton,
you know
yeah.
those guys?
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
rednecks from Milton.
Yeah, so they picked a fight with us. Stupid. There was, 3 of them,
Yeah.
and there was
A house full of punk
a
rockers.
house full of punk rockers. So us punks stick together, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when one guy started acting a little
Actually,
bit.
didn't we toss one out the window?
Mike
No,
did.
he
Wasn't
kicked.
Mike there?
No, they kicked the window in.
Oh, that's right.
That's
From
right.
the
That's
outside.
what started it. Yeah, that started the eviction proceedings.
So then we moved into the hype house, and stayed
Which was in
there,
Oakville.
which was in Oakville again, up Trafalgar,
Yeah, just north of the QE.
Trafalgar Wood. Yeah. And so Negative Gain, they would all come over, bring all their
That was their neighborhood. They
Yeah.
And White Oaks was up there as well.
Yeah.
So it was familiar ground to them.
Okay. So I'm going to get back to the timeline here because we were talking about a show on April 14th, and then there's a show April 27th.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe the week in between might have been when you recorded this album because that would have been a week off. This is when the Freeze come to town, and it's also at the DMZ, and you go on to play with the Freeze a few times. You almost become like the Freeze house band in some cases. I felt like the Freeze were, they were on that compilation Boston Not LA.
Yeah.
They were sort of the conscience of that record in some ways because they were
Yeah.
like the intelligence of that, like because
Yeah.
there was a lot of dumber bands on
Yeah.
that comp. But they were sort of like the ones with the brains.
Yeah.
So in some ways, you picked like the best band to come out of from
We love
Boston.
the Freeze.
Yeah.
Love the Freeze.
Earlier, you play with a band called The Knot, who are also from Boston, and I'm starting to see this like Boston thing coming up with like the Reuben Kincade Productions, and I'm thinking,
Dawn.
it might have been his good reputation and they sort of becomes a pipeline for Boston bands to come to Toronto.
Yes, that's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
yeah.
once he builds a connection with a band like the Freeze,
Then
and
the
then the
Knot
Freeze,
says, "Hey,
yeah.
can we and so
tag
Don
along,
threw-
and yeah.
Yeah,
But the Knot, I don't remember what they were like. I don't think they were.
they were like a
punk
mod
rock.
band. They were actually a mod band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got an album
Yeah,
black and white album.
they have a
did.
12-inch. It's a 6-song black and white
Oh,
album.
yeah, I've got that.
Yeah, I have it too. I know.
Do you?
Yeah. So, but the Freeze, do you want to say anything about them? Because they were pretty important.
It was unanimous
No.
amongst
They
all
were
of us that
high
we
on
all
life, those guys. Wow.
and speed.
Yeah, I thought it was Speed. Okay, and you play with a band called Youthful Aggression, and then
Pennsylvania.
so
So the word was getting around, I guess, with youthful aggression. I can't remember.
Pennsylvania.
Well,
Don't remember.
I don't know.
Sorry.
Drugs.
okay, but here we have 3 shows that take place in April of 1985, and you record an album in 1985. It was a pretty busy month.
Well,
Can I say that?
Recording
And
the album.
then toured.
Recording the album wasn't difficult. It really didn't take up much of our time.
It didn't.
We just, I mean, the whole recording process was
Like
1
3 days.
One
'cause-
day.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
day.
yeah.
Just go in and play the songs, and we're done. Most of them were done with 1 take, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Really, we practiced so much. We're always
a
spot
couple
on.
of songs didn't get on there because we couldn't play them.
Do you know what songs?
No name?
No, that didn't get on there because it didn't fit, and we needed to cut one.
No, we didn't,
and
Gerry.
I didn't like that song. I hated that
Old
song.
Buzz liked that song.
That was the one you liked?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Really?
Yeah.
But
He
did you
told
did you record these songs and they just didn't get on there?
Well, that one,
That one never got recorded.
yeah, because Chris fucked up on drums. You couldn't get the beginning of that song? You remember?
No.
Okay, so we just said, fuck it. We're running out of time.
Was there a lot of songs that you never got recorded?
No. Just that.
Okay.
Well, we used to jam off hype a lot.
Off hype.
Like, well, when we would get together, you, me, and Sheen, and we would just go off into our la la land,
Yeah.
and Don would come down and give us shit.
Because we weren't doing hype stuff.
Do hype stuff.
Well, yeah, we've got a lot of our. We've got some great tapes. One that stands out is what was that?
Actually, I played that tape, another one you're talking about, The Worst of Hype.
Yeah.
I played that for Steve from Negative Gain. He said, fuck, you should have put that out instead.
I know.
What is that?
What it essentially
drugs.
is drugs. It's
It's drugs.
if we ever had a party where we all did acid, or some of us did acid, we would purposefully make sure we jam the next day after, because our brains work in mysterious
It's
ways
drugs.
the day after, and we always had the most bizarre jams.
You
And
felt
we-
like you were at your creative best.
Yeah, we created some weird shit.
Yeah, but Neil would record
He'd
it, so
record
it
everything, yeah.
sounded great. It all sounded great.
But except Neil's voice was constantly in there, nagging at us, because we made the mistake of giving him a mic.
The beach party, yes.
So
DMZ.
in July at the DMZ, you play a beach party, and there's a couple of bands on here. Social Suicide is a band that you sort of mentioned in brief.
Yeah.
Tell me about them. They're from Brantford,
Brantford.
which is out your way.
Yeah, this warehouse I was working at in Oakville, I worked with Steve's older brother, Norm was his name, and I was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, you're in a band?" Because I would look like a dirt ball, and I said, "Yeah, it's kind of like hardcore." "What's hardcore?" And I said, "Well, it's like punk rock." "Oh, my brother's in a band." "Oh, yeah." I said, do you guys have a tape?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll get you a tape. I'll get him to do a tape." So they did a tape, gave it to me. Don and I listened to it and said, fuck. I think the first song's Something Better Change. When we played it, and we thought, fuck, yeah, this is like raw, punk, hardcore-ish. Let's get him on. Let's get him in the loop. In the loop, yeah. So did that, and I like those guys through and through.
Yeah, they were one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Steve had a wicked sense of humor.
Yes, he did.
They did a cover of Teddy Bear's Picnic, if I
Yes,
recall.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there's so many. Anyway, but I feel like Brantford. Like, where's Brantford
Yeah,
comparison to
I know.
Oakville? Because
Yeah.
Brantford's like even further
Yeah, that's
off the
out
beaten
there.
path, right?
Yeah. Up the 403.
How the fuck does a band come out of Brantford? That's what I'm asking. Like the same, like I would ask about Sons of Ishmael. Like, how does a band come out of Meaford? How does a band, like,
What was the band
From
from
Boredom.
Dunville? What was the band from Dunville?
Problem Children?
Problem Children. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There's
So many
another.
great hardcore bands. So this is, we're starting to see this thing
The
where,
suburban angst.
like,
maybe.
not even suburbs. Like, these are bedroom communities.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
not even bedroom communities. They're just like,
farm.
they're
community.
just different communities
Yeah.
that like you don't expect punk rock to come out of, and it comes out in spades in this Southern Ontario scene. Right?
Yeah.
But I think, from my experience, there always seems to be these kind of bands coming out of these small towns. Right now I'm working in Acton, and the store I'm working at, I'm discovering there's like 3 different bands within that store, and it's like some of them are punky, and it's like
Everyone's in a band.
yeah.
nowadays.
So there's always bands out there. It's just if they didn't get the opportunities to be brought into a loop, then they just go unnoticed and then dissolve, and no one knows anything about
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that this is the 76% uncertain show
Yeah.
where you play with the freeze. You play with the freeze twice in like within 2 months. That must have been a great show.
It was a great. I remember that show very well.
2 of my favorite bands. There are 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
And-
one I remember.
and I don't remember it.
I
I was on drugs.
Were you?
I remember when we
I
were
was hammered.
piecing this one together. I remember having a discussion with Don how we wanted to make sure we get Negative Gain in on this one because it's going to be a great show. We wanted them to have
Some limelight.
maximum exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're described as skate thrash. There's a drawing on here. Is this supposed to be?
Who did that?
Someone's got a hype shirt on with there. It's all caricatures
did
with
that.
big noses.
I think that came from, where did that come from?
Don't know. It's not signed.
I think it's from another poster from someone else.
Yeah.
Stole it.
I like it because it's got a like hype written on one of the shirts. But I also, I think this is weird.
ADC.
I don't know what that is. Yeah, I think of Brian Mulrooney because he had that big chin. And
Right.
there's some of these characters have big chins,
Never thought.
and I almost feel like it's there's something there. I don't know what it is. Anyway, never mind.
That
I'm
was a
just
great
rambling.
show. I remember that well.
Okay, let me. Here's another show that you headline at the DMZ
Yeah,
with
sure.
Sons of Ishmael playing, and you're giving them a thing. There's something on this flyer that I want to point out is the TOHC
Yeah.
logo here, which starts to appear on a lot of Reuben Kincade flyers.
Yeah.
And do you know? So first off, let me ask you: do you know where that logo comes from? Because it wasn't.
You borrowed it from some other town. Was it Montreal?
Yeah, there was
MOHC?
there was something else.
But you're saying Don was the first to use that?
No, but you start seeing it on his flyers,
Oh,
so
okay.
it sort of lives on through Don's flyers. I mean, people would write it on their jackets and
Yeah.
and put it in zines and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
like, I never saw it on flyers until I started seeing this on Don's flyers.
Oh, yeah?
And I also, and I'm going to start making a point about this when they start appearing on flyers, so you'll get the idea of. But what I want to ask is like, why did it go on there? Why did you put it on there?
No.
I feel like it.
No,
I have a theory.
you
Let me
just
ask
wanted-
you.
okay.
Let me ask you. No, go ahead.
Well, Don wanted to promote Toronto
Yeah.
hardcore.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what that is through and
There
through.
it is there, Toronto.
Yeah,
So-
Toronto.
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
a scene.
Yeah,
Everybody.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's trying to put Toronto on the map of sorts, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bingo. Yeah.
I feel this is one of Hype's legacies and Don's legacies is that you were great boosters of the scene,
Absolutely.
and I'm trying to demonstrate this in spades because you share the stage with so many people, and you're very generous with it. Can I say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, let me continue.
Okay.
Saturday, August 24th. So this is a show.
Okay, that was the show before we went on tour. That's it. I was trying to figure that out today. That was the show. I've given you the set list.
Last
And
TO show. Yeah.
at the bottom, Dawn wrote on all her set lists, by TO off on tour. And that was probably supposed to be you to
Your
say
cue
something.
to say something
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you going on tour.
So that was it. Okay.
Let
yeah.
me. So this becomes your first tour.
My
you
only
Yeah.
tour, yeah.
So
My
your only
first,
tour.
Yeah.
Where does that tour go? Because I think
Vancouver.
it goes out west.
And ended
It
in
is from
Montreal.
west. Okay.
Yeah.
So this show is in 1985,
Yeah.
and it's with 7 Seconds.
Yeah.
To me, it seems like a pretty big show. To quote Johnny Carson.
It was.
A
It was
really big
packed.
show.
Yeah.
It was cram packed.
Yeah, and hotter than hell.
Because 7 seconds. So 7 Seconds at this point. What's their thing? Because they seem to have like this. There's a bunch of things going on with 7 Seconds, and I feel like this is at the height of 7 Seconds. This is the rock together
Yeah,
drawing.
yeah,
Is this
yeah.
is this the show where they
This is
made
like
the
the-
crowd part so that they could walk through the?
Well,
Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, I don't remember.
That's when I stopped listening to 7 Seconds. That exact moment.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Okay.
At the DMZ, I could picture that. Eh?
Rock stars.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask a different question because I felt like this may have been one of their legacies, and I don't know if this is accurate. So there's a rumor that I've maybe started, maybe not, where I understood that the Circle Pit started at this show.
What?
And then
That's
after this show, then Circle Pit sort of became a thing for a couple of years, right? And there's other theories about this floating around. Can you confirm or deny this rumor?
I can't confirm.
You're
that
shaking your
either.
eyes.
I was always in the back. I never saw anything. The lights were in my face. I never saw anything.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah, no, it's cool. I'm not grilling you.
You had the best.
Just asking.
I don't recall.
No,
I
but
can't
that's
say.
interesting. That's really interesting.
It sounds about right.
I don't
When
remember
you
it
think about
happening
it,
at
'cause that-
Larry's. It was just a jumble at Larry's, just piling on top. Yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
and eventually it got some sort of order.
The reason why I
but
wonder about this
think-
is because of the song "Not Just Boys Fun" and how they were very inclusive in the pit, and I think.
Yeah,
Kenny Huff would have the best answer for that.
yeah.
Well, you would think that,
Eddie doesn't.
We asked him.
and I am, and I, that's the story I heard is that Kenny actually whistled and then did this circular motion with his finger,
What?
and then the Circle Pit starts, and then the Circle Pit doesn't die for like years. And it goes on to different clubs and things like that. So,
yeah.
and like we even get mocked by bands like Gangrene who come through town calling us the Indianapolis 500 and whatnot because we're running in circles.
You're kidding.
But I also think that other scenes did this, and I think that it happened also like people talk about the Huntington Stomp. I don't think that was a Circle Pit, but like I think there was beginnings of a Circle Pit in California prior to this. So
New York,
we weren't
I
the
thought.
first. I wouldn't declare us as the first,
No.
but I think something organically came together at this show that sort of affected dancing in the Toronto hardcore scene, and I'm trying to find someone who can confirm it.
Oh my God.
No, you guys can't confirm it. Never mind.
No,
I'm not
no.
going to belabor this. That's fine.
The crutch story.
What?
Crux.
The crutches.
Go ahead, tell it. You know more.
Well, yeah. So Steve started the rumor or heard
Steve
the
who?
rumor
Oh,
about this, and I guess a couple weeks ago I was talking to someone that was at that show,
Yeah.
and he went there. He just had knee surgery, and he went there on crutches, and he was standing in the middle of the pit, and he said everybody was running around him to avoid him.
I think I recall that.
I recall
No
that.
way.
Yeah.
That kind of thing
Yes.
stands out.
Yeah, yeah. I
Wow.
remember
And
thinking,
so
what-
that's why we're kind of piecing it
Yeah,
together
yeah,
that
yeah.
maybe that started.
something to this.
Maybe Ken did that motion, but
That's-
also maybe
Shit.
people were just trying to avoid this guy and not knock him over.
Yeah, the mutual respect of the
Yeah.
Toronto hardcore
Oh,
scene
it's
was good.
great,
I mean, if
yeah.
anyone ever fell down, immediately there was two hands pulling them back
Yeah,
out.
that was great.
Yeah, to make sure you didn't get crushed.
There's
or
one thing
whatever.
as being on stage, I always related to the old XDC song, "I Am the Audience," because I would lose myself in just watching people and forget that I'm playing a song. We rehearse so much, you do it blindfolded, and you get to the end of the song before you know it. It's like driving home, but so you just lose yourself just watching the people just going nuts. and
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
It was entertaining. I
In-
was the audience.
That's an interesting perspective, actually. That's an interesting perspective, actually. We haven't really talked to bands about that and their observation from the stage, looking at the crowd, and also Ken that just came up, and Anthony, obviously, his name comes up a lot. But maybe is there anything that
From
any
a stage-
experiences that you can share from that?
From a stage perspective, I think my favorite view was the Regina show at Bannister's.
We're talking about Toronto.
I know.
But one of the things, while we're talking about that, I wanted to point out something on the Burned album, which is this picture here.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember actually when this was being taken, this is a picture of, so to describe it, it's a picture of the Toronto scene at a show right around the time before your record comes out, obviously, but it was for the record. And you guys decide that you wanted to take a picture of the scene,
Who took
which
that?
is a
Monica.
genius
Probably
idea.
Monica, yeah.
Where does this, like, where did,
Well, it's because we've always been
it makes me think
connected to the people.
yeah.
We're not.
It makes me it makes me think of the Fair Warning album, You Are the Scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Which was also something at the time that was feeding a theme, right? But like
We were only half the band.
nobody else has
The
any
audience
pictures of
was
the
the other
scene.
half.
Nobody else has any pictures of the Toronto
No, I
scene. You
guess
guys
not.
definitely have it in your record, right? Anyway,
Yeah,
Wow.
my ex has a bunch of those pictures.
From
Tell her, man. Yeah,
Of the audience?
because she took that. Yeah,
and you kind of stopped the show and said, "Everyone get around here,"
Yeah.
and then like
turn the
but,
lights on.
Oh yeah.
But people are like jumping on top of each other, like there's a fucking pit going on here, right? Like, and this is actually everything stops kind of, and everyone's jumping to get into the photo.
Oh.
Which is hilarious.
Hardcore.
Oh, for
And
God's
who's
sake,
that?
it is.
And so, like, when people try and stage stuff, it never works out. But this is like, this actually works because, like, it looks like there's actually, like, it's mid-show.
Yeah,
But it's
Gidget.
not.
Gidget.
Anyway,
Gidget. Yeah, right.
I just wanted to put some context to that because, but who came up with the idea to take this picture? Do you know?
That would probably be Dawn.
Once
I remember John Barbizon actually organizing everybody to try and get in this picture, right? Anyway, we'll come back to this because there's other
So you
stories
were
to talk
there?
about. I was.
You were there? Okay.
My brother's in the shot.
Is
I'm
he?
in the shot.
Oh no way.
Yeah, I'll point myself out later.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go in March, but I want to go back to the 7-second show because there's something else I want to talk about. There's a bunch of fucking things that come out. So there's a scene report, this scene report, in March 1986 about Toronto that came out in issue number 34 of Maximum Rock and Roll. The report was written by someone from Boston who had recently moved to Toronto. So in some ways, I feel like this perspective is a unique perspective because it's somebody who's doesn't have any allegiances with anybody and is
Right.
not glossing shit over. And this is what they write about Hype. I'm gonna read this, okay? Hype are probably the most established band in Toronto now that DA have bitten the dust. Hype recently returned from their Canadian tour, and apparently their debut LP is almost sold out. They've added a second guitarist and are rehearsing new material for the next LP. I can't wait to see them play again. Their last real show was back in July, even though they hosted 7 Seconds in August. But a fucked PA meant little to no sound while they played their set. So, do you recall at the 7 Second show? The first question is, was there PA trouble? Because you guys also talked about the PA being shit there, and I'm just thinking maybe that was just how the DMZ operated.
I don't remember.
Probably. I do recall that somehow. I recall that whole show being a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why it should stand out for us, but it doesn't.
Well, because we had our minds on going on tour and packing up and getting on the road as fast as possible.
Possible.
And that was at
Did you
3
go
in the
on the
morning.
tour right after the
Yeah,
show? Like you were
literally.
on the road?
The next day, yeah.
Night.
Okay.
No. From
we left
the
there.
club.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
At 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
It was a 3 week. How many weeks did you go on tour?
Two.
that was 2
2 weeks.
And we drove straight to Winnipeg.
No,
20.
straight to Sault
Sault
Ste.
Ste.
Marie.
Marie, where we had to
Oh,
set up
shit,
another
that's
PA
right.
system.
Oh my God.
Is that Sheen's? Because of Sheen
Sheen's.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
gets to play his hometown.
Yeah,
Gets to be a hometown hero.
there's a lot of kids there. Though.
Oh, God, yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one place I would always recommend stop in and play, no matter what
I
kind
think
of
somebody
band
from
you are.
Random Killings also from Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, there was another kerfuffle that night with Don and Steve. Did Don talk about that?
No.
The pen?
No.
Yes.
Oh no, yeah.
My pen.
About Thor
No, that was Godzilla.
or Godzilla.
Godzilla?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the pen.
I
remember?
thought it was Steve.
No, that was Godzilla. Because I remember
So,
Don
he-
saying, "Oh,
Godzilla thought that Don stole his pen.
yeah."
Was his grandfather's fountain pen?
No,
or something?
it was like a solid gold cross pen. That
Oh.
obviously he purloined that from somewhere. Then he came back. Where's my pen? You guys remember Godzilla?
Yeah.
Where's my pen?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was huge
fuck,
and
man.
huge mohawk,
Yeah, huge mohawk.
muscles to.
So no, Don said, "Steve,
Oh, wow.
I don't have his pen. I don't have his pen, man." And we thought, "Oh fuck, we're gonna get the shit kicked out of us." Because
Yeah.
as a goodbye present.
Oh,
What was he signing? A receipt for the
no. He was writing people's numbers down.
Oh, for God's sake.
Blah, blah, blah.
And we got word of this halfway through the tour, halfway across Canada. How did that even happen pre-internet? And Don was afraid to
people
come back,
telling
and
us?
there was going to be a contract on his
No.
head. Yeah, that went on for months.
I was with Don when fucking Godzilla was there. with
Yeah,
the
I
remake.
remember being there too.
We cleared it up there.
Oh, for God's sake. Wow. Okay.
So going, how far west did you go?
Vancouver.
Vancouver, yeah.
So all the way to the coast.
Yeah.
Not Victoria though, but Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Did what were the reactions to you playing out there? Because you might have been one of the first Toronto bands to ever make it out west. In fact, I mean I don't in all the bands I've interviewed, I think you were the first.
What?
This is another first for Hype.
Wow.
Vancouver was always awesome.
That was a great show.
Do you know anyone else who
Edmonton-
went out west, like from Toronto?
No.
I mean, I'm not, but yeah, because no one I can think of, right?
Wow.
I think you guys were the first.
You're blowing my mind.
Well, you should blow your own mind because
If I could, I'd never leave the house.
okay, Iggy Pop. Do you know?
Did he say that?
No, he had ribs removed so that he could blow himself.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
TMI.
Not really. It's kind of a weird thing. Anyway, but it's just something.
It sure is.
So, but okay, so this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that you guys are maybe reluctant Toronto punk ambassadors, right? You guys are the first to come from Toronto and play
Unknowingly
some of
as
these
well.
scenes.
I guess so.
And so this would be the first that some of these bands would like, because Toronto has this reputation of being a big deal or the big smoke, and then maybe full of ourselves. And so there's both pro and cons against Toronto,
Oh, yeah.
right? And so I'm wondering what your reactions were out there. Like, was it? Because in some ways it might be tough to play out to these places because there might be some expectations, right? And in other ways people might not wanting to be giving you a chance because they feel that their local scene's better, and they might feel like you have a chip on your shoulder.
outsider
And some
coming in.
so I'm wondering there's lots of ways that this can play out, and I'm wondering how they did play out.
I don't remember.
What was
any-
our Vancouver show?
I don't remember.
Really?
The name of it?
Where did
No.
you play? How about we start there? We started at Sault Ste. Marie. And
Oh,
where did you go
Sault Ste.
from? Where did you go
Marie.
after that?
We played at Sault Ste. Marie?
Yes.
I don't remember that. I thought Winnipeg was the
No.
first.
Winnipeg.
It's a good thing we're having this conversation.
In-
Holy shit.
When we were in the band, we didn't play Sault Ste. Marie, did we? We only played Sault Ste. Marie at the bowling alley, didn't we?
Oh, you played a bowling alley.
Second tour, not with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second tour.
Okay.
But in the first one, we didn't.
That's what,
No, we did.
Bowling alley.
Where?
That's amazing.
I think I have in my thing our itinerary.
okay.
So Sault Ste. Marie was on there.
And then where did you go? Like, did you go to Winnipeg?
Then
or
Winnipeg.
Thunder
Winnipeg.
Bay? Did you play Thunder Bay before?
No,
Win-
no. Straight to Winnipeg.
Winnipeg
then
was always a bomb for us for
Oh.
some reason. Every
That's
sing-
what Don said.
the
We've
Wellington
never-
Hotel.
It's never been good. Yeah, the strip joint.
We had to set up during the strip show, the lunchtime strip show.
We couldn't figure out why there was beds on the floor. We're a little naive.
Mattresses on the floor for all these Japanese businessmen in their suits.
Really?
And as we were setting up our kit, the girls would do their routines. First time I've ever seen the beer bottle blowjob deal.
I don't
I was
even know what that
19
is.
years old.
That's
I'd never-
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't hold with that in Oakville. It was quite
Did
an
you play?
education.
Did you play Saskatchewan at all?
Yeah, Regina.
Regina,
So it was 3 nights in Winnipeg that were shit. Regina, Edmonton, Vancouver,
Calgary.
Calgary.
Calgary, of course. Yeah, and that was it. And then we went back to Montreal.
Back
and
to Montreal.
that was
Did
it.
you
That
Did you
was
get to
the-
play any shows on the way back? or-
Yeah.
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 Some,
I
yeah.
think we stopped in Winnipeg again.
Yeah. We
No,
tried.
did we?
For more
Yeah.
more pain.
For more
For more
punishment.
pain.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Remember
We had another 3 people to play too.
Yeah.
When you're finished this part, I said maybe we'll stop it and save that part, and we'll start up again.
Okay, I'm not finished this part yet.
When you finish that part, take a break.
Okay. Did you get inspiration for being sort of a link between these scenes? Because I feel like having played some of these Canadian cities, which wasn't something that a lot of people did, except for mostly Canadian bands, and that's mostly from the West, like DOA and Subhumans would talk about playing some of these places, and then scenes would pop up as they would play these places. I'm feeling like you guys are the link between Toronto and the West in some ways. And I feel like you get to see like how some other people are doing it. Like when I used to go to other scenes, I used to feel good about Toronto because I'd say, oh man, things are good in Toronto. But I'd also be inspired by some of the neat things that were coming out of other scenes. So I'm like, oh, they do that. That's pretty amazing. So it becomes like an idea generator. I'm wondering, like, what was touring an inspiration of sorts for you?
It was hard
yeah.
times.
And did it like and did it make you guys a link for bands coming out west to here? Because later on, a bunch of bands from BC come to play with Hype.
Yeah,
Like that
and then I
sentence
know
in Desperate
Don would
Minds.
swap this out for Canadian hardcore, right?
Right.
So his thing was people across Canada tour your bands, get out there and whatnot. Kind of like,
Putting Canada on the map.
yeah, putting Canada on the
yeah.
map. We
Became broader.
Yeah, we met a lot of good bands out there.
Yeah.
And frig, man.
Well, in 1985-86, Canada had amongst the best bands going,
Yeah, sure.
and that was never recognized.
Yeah, I agree. What were some of the bands that you remember?
Stretch Marks, DOA, The Unwanted. What happened to
Death
the
Sentence?
Death
Death
Sentence?
Sentence, yeah.
I
Yeah.
like Down Syndrome. We played the Down
Oh,
Syndrome
yeah, Down Syndrome in Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Yeah. Yeah, they were a great band.
Did a 7-inch.
Yeah.
Entirely distorted.
All the Montreal bands.
Yeah, and lots of Montreal.
Lots of Montreal bands.
Did you ever go out east?
Yep.
No.
No?
Oh,
Just Montreal.
Well, Montreal. That was as far as we.
Well, that's east, but yeah.
Yeah.
Not further.
No.
Okay. That's still a pretty broad stretch of the country
Yeah.
that most people didn't get to see.
No.
The East would have been risky at that time. I don't think we would have found much scene.
You never know.
We were always surprised by
There's a
Regina.
scene in
though.
Oakville.
We were always surprised by Regina,
Regina.
especially after coming out of Winnipeg, which is always a disaster. You go to a little place like Regina, and it's like, holy fuck, 150 people,
Yeah, right.
and they
That's
loved
amazing.
It, you know, it's
Yeah.
like-
Yeah. Yeah, that's
and,
amazing.
And to look at the kids in the crowd in Regina, they're just a bunch of average-looking
was
people.
was the album out at this first tour? Is
Yes.
that why you went
Yeah.
out and
That's,
toured?
that's why we went.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took that and
So,
some
yeah.
T-shirts.
T-shirts, stickers, would sell whatever we can sell.
Yeah. That gave us gas money.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna.
I'll